Yeah, the big thing that you saw in this draft that developed throughout the series was just the prio on Azir completely shifted. The main thing is when you have Renata and Varus to mask your Azir, even though Saras is considered an answer into Azir, it just won't matter as much in fights. The main thing for me here, right, is that in comparison to all the other drafts that we saw, this was a case where Atrox was picked 1 2 and Yon was picked 2 3. Um, we know that Yon has been blind picked by Zeus before, but I think he only does it depending on the specific player that he plays against. I think the issue here is when you end up. I don't know which other AD you can really pick here, right? Because Ezreal is out, Ashe is out, Caitlyn, Lucian, and Yumi is out. Picking Sivir into a composition that heavily outranges you, it can become dangerous. I think it's very hard to play Sivir into Azir. She's going to be here to throw ultimates for her 3 frontline champs and hope that they're going to be carrying the game and she can just follow up with basic attacks as these champions are going to do more of the heavier work. Something here they did good. DRX is just making sure that there's no vision in river, and with the pink placed, like sometimes Azir can posture into bottom side and clear this after 2 waves. But if you give Silas that much breathing room, like if Azir takes the time to beat this pink ward to death, it takes too much time and he loses full control over the lane, as silly as it sounds. Because with how this game played out, Pioshik knows there's no vision, Faker doesn't get level 3, he needs 2 melees, he has a range and a melee, and he pieces out. Faker uses flash. This is, if you're Silas, you're very happy with this condition. Every game we saw junglers looking to achieve something level 3. So this is the spooky thing, right? Is after he burns his flash, every time there's a situation where he has to push a wave or do something, he's just in trouble. Yeah, Deft made a very silly mistake, right? Like these are the type of mistakes that don't get remembered, but it was very back and forth. Um, Very back and forth. We were talking on the co-stream that Sivir could easily just flash and heal towards her tower and survive, but the more egregious mistake is the fact that, of course, he walks up with the wave in the first place, and Korea does a good play. E and Q, and that's it. Yeah, it's just a mid-gap situation, so they can't really contest. Saz was hovering. I forgot this happened, actually. Jesus Christ. Bro, my man has lost 2 smite situations already. This one Pioshik won. But this one owner fucked up. He miscalculated his damage. But let's play it out. This is the Azir ult is brilliant. I don't think the Korea Q matters too much here because they're already CC'd and already in the air. But it's a very nice combo. It's also Owner's. Is it Owner's kick that is insane here? Trying to remember. Yeah, Owner gets people, man. Everyone just gets hit here by every spell. This is a dream fight for T1. All of their abilities land. Like, mechanically, this was fucking gorgeous from T1. I feel like that's the story of this series, man. There was like so many errors because I feel like everyone had to execute so high on a mechanical level that everything else became an afterthought. First thing that came to my mind here, right, is that in that situation as they're contesting it, in my mind I'm thinking Silas is gonna steal the Renato ult and they're going to pressure them from 2 angles. But like this, it plays out very different with no Silas ult. The Silas ult is really key in the situation. But look how well T1 played it, Even though Pioshik lost the smite, right? And there's definitely more egregious examples of him losing smites. In this particular situation, I think T1 do a very good job of bursting it. Because look here, right? They Q it, they get 3 stacks of Varus passive, they WQ charge, and then it's very clear that they time it together. Look at them timing it together. This is very neat. Here there's a TP advantage for Azir, so they can't really press anything. They just wanted to make sure Atox can crash. Saras doesn't have TP. Azir is on bot, can hold sturdy against the Saras with Crown. No problem at all. And now we just pull the Herald. They see Silas on bot. If Silas is not on bot, then they will not leash this Herald and they will let Azir push. Another thing that Zeka could have done is he could have trapped. But here T1 get the Herald and they keep Azir on bot, and Silas did nothing in this sequence. Silas just baits for stopwatch. Wants to make sure he has a little stopwatch. He just gets a little stopwatch for the Drake fight. Here, Kingen is in shock, man, that these guys are face checking him. But the fact that this is not game over is a bit of a big deal. Like the fact that Gumayushi survives here and that this fight is 1-for-1 from this position, I am in shock. Also crazy how DRX here, they invested a lot of time into trying to kill Yone and contesting this bush, when I think in reality they needed to just leash the Drake a lot earlier, because they have Silas TP. So Silas is going to be quicker to the situation than Renata, and Renata has no ult, and then it would have been fine. But Zeus is like playing with them. Like Zeus is playing really good this Yone game. I think a lot of the great things that Kingen did was in a lot of the team fights. But here I think Zeus is outplaying 4 people like this. Like, of course, DRX have no business like chasing after him, but this is very good play here by Zeus. T1 is just destroying the Drake, and the DRX definitely was not sharp in this game 1. And then Zeus, you know, even though he distracted 4 people from the Drake, he managed to find a way into the fight, and this was brilliantly played. And then Faker here. Faker, you know, Faker, he played really good and sometimes really bad. But this was one of those moments where you are mind blown. Look at this, man. Wow. The Renata shields him, W's him, he flashes out. Like this, shit like this was crazy. And Gumayushi here, man. The fact that he doesn't get pulled in here, man. Look how deep he goes into the bush. He gets pulled there, he's one shot, and somehow he survives. Yeah, this was crazy. Once again, like, it's very hard to analyze this, but looking at the little information that we have, T1 are crossing way too far forward when Azir is contesting midwave. Like, this is very greedy play from them. They have no business being here. They just need to wait for Azir to do something. Because, yeah, like, Azir was not a part of this. Here, better did a decent job, right? Like, very nice. You can look at this, and Heimdall's turret placements is really, really beautiful. So look at this game as an example, right? Deft is very resilient. For sure, right? This is a very unique case, right? Because there's super minions, so he gets to farm a lot, but he's serviceable even in the most roughest of conditions as an AD carry. And I think this is, you know, a very big strength to have for Deft. DRX, the only thing they can hope for is that, of course, there's a situation where T1 fuck up and they get caught, but or they can find a trap. Here, if Zeus ulted right away, he would have got them. Yeah, it's a crazy place to start, right? Because this was not. This was telling of all of the potential issues of DRX, but it wasn't telling a story about the series at all. The main key takeaways that we saw here was just the power of Renata, the prio on Varus, and also, you know, just the power of Azir as well. And in the context of picking Aatrox 1-2, the Yone is a good answer. But what happens if Yone is banned? Those are the questions that hopefully, well, I say hopefully, but we know that they're going to be answered in the next game that we're going to review. But to summarize this one, big situation around game Drake 1 that occurred. They found early ganks on Faker. They didn't translate too much. Silas managed to also get himself killed in the Rift Herald situation. The Rift Herald fight was essential to make sure that the gold comeback in mid happened. And then, of course, on Drake 2, what we saw was that Sylas not having ultimate was too big of a deal. Um, Even though they had Everfrost advantage and they had Divine Thunder advantage, it's very hard to start fights into the champions that have so much disengage without having a potential Azir ult in your pocket or maybe a Renato ult in your pocket as the Sylas. But he had no ult there. And then, of course, T1 did a very nice burst combo on the Drake 2. And then coming into Drake 3, we saw a situation where T1 completely made a big blunder by giving up their Varus and the Renata to walk into that bush, and Honor showing on midwave and Azir contesting Pixel. They were literally doing 4 things at the same time, and that was way too much. And Zeus managed to distract enough, well, make himself look attractive enough for DRX for them to invest time and effort into ganking him. And then we have the situation where Faker gets caught crossing, because here Beryl feels very good about this. You have a situation where, of course, 4 people are showing on the bot tower, so they are going to smack this Azir up that is crossing in the river where there's vision. And what happens here is Faker finds the brilliancy, his team comes, his team flashes in to defend him. And then we had the extended fight here where Varus finds a miracle situation. And this was one of those mechanical situations that just worked out very well. King played this beautifully, you know. Very nice, but the W doesn't proc. Gomiushi finds a little crack in the wall to hide in. And then the game is completely finished. Alright guys, we're going to look at game 2 tomorrow. Thank you so very much.